You're listening to Late Night Radio on the SHR Media Network. Caution, there will be mature themes explored and potentially adult language used. If conservatarian words, phrases, certain concepts, or rhetoric offends you, tune out now.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same. And if you and I don't do this, then you and I may well spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it once was like in America when men were free.
Left this lies and globalists, I'm pushing them back. From the saloon to the airwaves, I'm spitting it raw. Constitution's my compass, liberty's law. Big gods creeping, shadows on the land. Feds with the schemes trying to bind up my hands. But I'm the Sherpa, guiding through the storm. Red, white, and blue, yeah, freedom's reborn. They spin their tails, but I see through the haze. Media maggots, lost in the maze. I'm calling it out, no fear in my soul. This patriot's fire ain't losing control. Conservative Sherpa leading the fight. Torch in the dark, burning bright in the night. Stand for the truth, won't bow to the game. Sherpas, come and remember my name. Sherpas rising. Let this judge is twisting, trying to steal our rights, but I'm locked and loaded, got them in my sights. From J6 to the border, they're selling us out. I'm screaming from the mountain, hear my rebel shout. They mock the flag, but I'm holding it high. Stars and stripes forever under God's open sky. No globalist chains gonna cage this land. I'm the Sherpa with the truth in my hand. They push their agenda, but I'm breaking the mold. Their promises empty, their hearts ice cold. Chicago's bleeding, borders torn apart. I'm fighting for the people with the warrior's heart. Conservative Sherpa leading the fight. Torch in the dark, burning bright in the night. Stand for the truth, won't bow to the game. Sherpas, come and remember my name. Sherpas rising. I've walked the line, 41 years, badge on the grind, now I'm on the air, my voice like a blade, cutting through the lies that the traitors made. Hurricanes rage, but we're standing tall, sheriffs of the Constitution answering the call. From the saloon to the heart of the fray, we're taking back America, no more delay! Conservative Sherpa leading the fight, torch in the dark, burning bright in the night. Stand for the truth, won't bow to the game. Sherpas, come and remember my name. Sherpas rising. Static, hear my voice resound. Conservative Sherpa, freedom's battleground. Berserk, Bobcat, rules will never kneel. For God and country, this fight is real.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show, live and direct from the SHR Media studio. Now, would it shock you at all to know that not long before the show, I had some serious problems with Facebook? Now, I may as well state this up front. I have got a ton of stuff to talk about tonight. And I'll be honest, but don't tell anybody. On a Saturday night, I should be drinking like a madman. I should be quaffing alcohol and vodka by the gallon But no. I decided a couple of nights ago, because, I didn't do a show on Thursday night, that I was going, and I didn't even get to any politics on Tuesday night, which was my Thanksgiving show, which if you're on my social media, you can bop around and see a lot of that stuff. Let's see, where is my social media? Here's my social media. Anyway, you can find last Tuesday night show, my Thanksgiving show, on all those places right there. Predominantly on X. I'm not sure how long I'm going to be on, say, Facebook. And therein comes the story for tonight. Facebook decided it was time to extort me for $19.91. In other words, everybody else could look at my stuff, but I couldn't look at my stuff, and I couldn't post it, and I couldn't refer to it in the show. Your account is screwed up, and go, and then I go look around, and you owe us money. What? No. You have an ad account that owes us $19.91 for ads on Facebook. Now, please, if you would, look closely at this Gesicht right here. Examine it very closely. I'll even bring it closer. So move all the children and small animals out of the room right now. Does that look like a face that would give money to Facebook for an ad? Inherently, you intuit, why no? That is not, because BZ predominantly despises Facebook because it has suspended him probably 30 to 40 times over the span of, I don't know, what is it, 6, 7 years, 9 years, however long I've been on Facebook. And my suspensions have been for a month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, all across the spectrum. And so, do you think that I would say, I don't really care, because I love Facebook so much that not only do I not care about having been suspended for bullshit, but I'm going to give it money because I want to advertise on Facebook. So that got me into a bit of a mood, shall we say, where this was my motto just before I stepped into the room. And so I have a lot of stuff that I need to go over tonight. There will likely be overtime on your Saturday night. If you're Eastern, I don't know. You'll either watch or you won't. But one of the primary reasons I'm doing this is because I had such an esophageal blockage of politics that I had to get it out. And predominantly, I'll tell you why, because I wanted to get it out and into the internet ozone before Sean Lewis beat me on Monday, because otherwise I would have to wait to the subsequent Tuesday, December 2nd, to get my political fix in. And I determined that's not going to happen. So whether there are people watching tonight, a ton or a few, it's immaterial. First, thank you for being here. Second, go back and see my Thanksgiving show where I said to everyone who was watching, listening, a viewer, live or in podcast, people who were involved in the chat room, I love you all. Thank you ever so kindly. If you're here, that's great. I don't anticipate many people being here because I'm not going to be simulcast on KLRN. That's not going to happen. It hasn't happened in quite some time. I'm just doing this for me. And one of the primary reasons is, besides getting a jump on Sean, of course, is also to make sure that I don't forget this. I do this show, sure, I do it for you. And if you guys are pleased or happy or satisfied, that's icing on the bundt cake. But it's not just for you that I do the show. I do this in reference to the things that are occurring in and to my life when they are occurring. And I'm a political animal, so those things are mostly politics. And so that's why I'm doing the show. And again, I go to my backup, which says that generally I don't make any of this stuff up. I don't have to make any of this stuff up. I bring the articles, I bring the photos, I bring the videos via the internet, which is something that anyone can scour with half a brain tied behind their high racks. Go look it up. But don't tell your mother. And the American media maggots predominantly choose not to inform you of these things. So there's going to be a ton of stuff. The primary two foci tonight will be on the National Guard, what occurred in D.C., what that's all about, and then, of course, not circuitously, but it leads directly to Islam and Muslims in America. Now, I posted on social media, not in a major formalente, but I said essentially, I told people in social media that I was going to change in 2026, that I was going to change my viewpoint to that of a bit more stridency. If you find that hard to feature, well, gird thy bucklers, because it's going to happen. I'm not waiting for the new year. My days of being kind of circumspect or magnanimous or charitable or forgiving or wanting to hear both sides of any sort of conciliation or reconciliation, of being cautious or guarded in my viewpoints or my words, those days on any number of issues are over. And you're going to hear the two major ones tonight. Sorry. Proving that I am a human being and not an AI creation, because no AI would go to the effect of trying to create some kind of a lumpy dumpy piece of crap like this. You know that for a fact. I first quantified this bit on sort of hedging my bipartisanship and compromise. You know, I am now so far beyond bipartisanship and compromise that I am way over on my alien friends from Zephron on their planet. That's how far away I am. There is zero time for any of that anymore if we wish to save this planet, not just this nation, the planet, freedom, liberty. My war, as much as I can make it, is with leftists and Muslims, because for the most part, there isn't any difference between leftists and Muslims. They're no different in terms of the danger that they pose for this country, for every other country, and freedom all around the earth. They are the focal points of my war, as much as I can make it so. And I wish to start off. I'm glad that you. Oh, let me tell you this. This is my sort of update on Jake. Today was an okay day. It wasn't a really good day. Yesterday wasn't a particularly good day. And so that was me holding him today. When he goes outside, especially now, it's really cold out there. We've had snow. It's winter. And when he comes back in, he has almost no fat to him. And every time he goes outside to pee and poo, he's still doing that. He's shaking. So it's time to bring him in, put him in a blanket, and just love him up as much as we possibly can. This is essentially my new motto. Importing the turd world is a national security issue everywhere in this country, everywhere in every Western nation. everywhere and everywhere. And in case you don't get it yet, our strength is basically our greatest weakness. And this is how Islam looks at us, because they know we are weak until we gird our loins. I won't be happy until every Muslim is removed from the United States of America. Now, I have a number of places that I want to go tonight. You're going to see as much as I can possibly place in the show. The other thing that I want to see if I can put up on the board here is this. I just saw this. This just came in. I want you to listen. This is Rashida Tlaib. This just came out a few hours ago. And when I say that this is nothing more than a clear indicator that she is nothing more than a Muslim terrorist bent on dismantling and warring against the United States of America, you tell me what part of this...
Look at this rooms, motherfuckers! We ain't going anywhere! Political structures that I have to work in, that we all are surrounded by, was built on slavery and genocide and rape and oppression. Real change doesn't come from the cowards and warmongers in Congress. It comes from the streets. It comes from all of us mobilizing and seizing the power to resist and fight back.
Who is us? Us is leftists and Islam. They are one and the same. They are a danger. They are terrorists. They are violent, and they want us conservatives, people who support freedom and liberty, they want us dead. Make zero mistake about this.
Gaza is the compass in this country.
Now, who are all the people in there? What do you see? I see a sea of people with beards and women and headscarves and coverings, head coverings and beards. I wonder if they're muzzies.
Now we're in Congress and we're every corner of the United States. Look at this rooms, motherfuckers.
Let me tune that back in again. This is directed at you.
Look at this rooms, motherfuckers. We ain't going anywhere.
And that, listen, when Islam tells you to your damn face what they're going to do to you, they're not kidding. Oh, I don't really take that seriously. There are people that associate with me that still don't believe that Islam is a dire threat on almost every level to this country and to all other countries. Now, in this fashion, there was an individual that wrote something, and I added upon it, so to speak, about what's going on in the UK, because what's going on in the UK right now is precisely what all muzzies are attempting to do right now. There is no such thing as a moderate Muslim. There's only a Muslim who isn't doing it right and is subject to the same executory actions as we are. They also, like us, are infidels. It's starting in the UK. It's taking over Michigan. It's taking over Minnesota, and it's beginning to take over Texas. And the mosques are being built at a rapid rate, and they are procreating at a rate of enormity where the rest of the white women's are not. But what I've determined is that procreation is in fact occurring in red states, just not by leftists who are going to unbreed themselves out of existence, which, as far as Islam is concerned, is a wondrous thing. Back to the UK. England fell without one shot. Maybe a whole bunch of stabbies a couple of shots maybe, but essentially without one big shot. Because their Trojan horse is already inside that country, and all their gaups, guilty, overeducated white people, already, oh, come on in. Angela Merkel is primarily responsible for that, destroying Europe, and then concurrently by that, hopping the pond and going over to the UK. There's an individual that I know that is in Ireland right now and says that Ireland isn't Irish anymore. But you're not going to see that on the television because that's not the thing that the Irish government or the UK government wants you to see. In the UK, you're looking at a country that predominantly, mostly doesn't even exist anymore. You know, when you flip through nice books and you're thinking, oh, look, that picture right there, that's a beautiful picture of the Union Jack and the palace, and look at their traditions and their history and their custom. That postcard crap is gone. And England didn't fall with tanks and smokes and battles and artillery pieces. It fell with silence and with cowardice. In 2026, everybody in America better be paying attention. This isn't the England, and this isn't the America that you remember in the movies that are documented there. You know, England at one time was ordered, and it was civil, and it was a place where history wasn't necessarily something that you read about per se. It was something that you saw, you walked on, and you were immersed with. The people that one time lived in England know this quite well. But when you were told at the same time that you were told it was demanded of you that you didn't notice, things turned to crap. And the problem with England is also the problem that is here. That problem is very simple. England had too many manners and not enough nerve. And when this guy wrote this, I can't even think of the guy's name right now. He was correct. And America, for the most part right now, has too many manners and not enough nerve. And they were so careful not to offend that they forgot how to defend themselves in the UK and here, happening here. So while you were told not to pay any attention to what's going on, everything happened. That England is gone, and it's gone forever, and it's not coming back. Now, we can't save the UK. The only people that can save the UK are themselves, Britons. And I'm not sure that I see them predominantly, mostly motivated to be able to do that. So, cities grow, cultures mix, generations shift. You know, I know that. What happened in England and what's happening here isn't it's just a little casual drift. Pay no attention. It's a takeover. It's a Muslim takeover. Make no mistake. The goal is to outbreed, outprocreate, and when the numbers are on their side, overtake. Look at any country that has been subsumed by Islam. Because Nigeria is a nation of peace, is it not? Isn't North Africa? Isn't that a compilation of peaceful nations? But I'll say it out loud. This isn't the quiet part anymore. Listen, there is no quiet part anymore. According to the UK's Office for National Statistics, the early 2000s showed two trends colliding: declining birth rates among longtime British families and sharply higher birth rates in newer communities. True there, true here. At the same time, official data recorded net migration at levels never seen in modern British history, year after year, stack after stack. It wasn't rumor, it wasn't theory, it was occurring right in front of everybody's face. And Europe, because the countries are smaller, can't take that crap. The numbers, comparatively speaking, are much smaller. So any infiltration or inculcation by Islam is more noticeably seen, more readily and easily seen. So the cops in the UK neighborhoods said that they had to change tactics. And then when people were saying, like Angela Merkel, there are no such things as no-go zones, all the cops in all the countries in the UK and Ireland and Europe knew that exactly that was correct. There were no-go zones. So, at the same time, simultaneously, everybody said, oh, we had to respect the newcomers. We had to be sensitive to the newcomers. So England didn't collapse in a single moment. We're not going to collapse in a single moment if we fight right RTFN. So a country like the UK that just continued nonstop to apologize for being Britons. They forgot what being a Briton was like, and they continuously apologized. And that people said, well, wait a minute, now I'm seeing some change. When did it change? Open your eyes. While everybody was busy calling themselves little names online, that's how nations fall now. That's how our nation is falling and why people hate Donald John Trump, OMB, Orange Man Bad, the guy with the dead orange cat on his head. Because we are fighting back. We are conservatives and Republicans. Republicans, not so much. Mostly conservatives, maybe little L libertarians in a mix there. Trojan horses. That's how nations fall. And the Trojan horse is Islam. Make no mistake about that. Let's be honest. So if you want to see what the future of England, what the future of the United States is, and kind of like a mini England right now, a mini UK, go to Dearborn. Go to Hamtramck. Go to Minnesota. Go to Michigan. You don't need a passport. You don't need a plane ride to go way across the pond and watch what's happening in the UK. Go there and see what's happening with Somali illegal immigrants and lawful ones that were intentionally imported into the United States. Recent census data says Muzzies are the predominant population in Dearborn. That's the first Arab majority city in the United States, and it won't be the last. So America isn't standing on the UK doorway. We're standing on it. And the Trojan horse isn't coming. Look, I see it. It's off in the distance somewhere. No, that's here right now. If you happen to be in one of these towns or states, you're watching it right in front of your face. And again, there are gaups all along the fruited plain who my saying this is making them cringe. And some of them are on areas and in areas where I broadcast. If you rummify that around in your head, if you will, just a little bit. So what happened? The map is something like this. Part 1 is memory. Part 2 is the blueprint, the laws, the votes, the policies that flipped England and will flip us from postcard to a warning label Part 3 here is Dearborn, the test case for every honest America, a test case that every honest American has to study and become cognizant of. Now, if you want part 2, the data, the maps, the policies, the receipts, come listen to my show. I have no problem telling you the truth about leftists and Islam. They're the same. In essence, they want you dead. Now, I have foregone the break, and I have determined at this point, bing, there will be no break. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to get through the show. Nations don't lose on battlefields anymore. They are subsumed from within. All enemies, foreign and domestic, the greatest number of enemies in our country are domestic. I did entire shows on undermining the United States of America, and that is what is occurring today. We are being undermined politically and demographically. Demography is prophecy. BZ, it's just, this doesn't sit well with me, BZ. It just, well, it can't happen here, right? That's what everybody says. Oh, you're so way over the top. That crap cannot happen here. You heard Rashida Tlaib tell you exactly what's happening. And if you think that there's someone around you who doesn't believe that, ship them when I'm done this show, because I am bringing the evidence to you. And that is what I will be doing tonight. Now, I'm not going to go into a big hubbub of technology and screens and all that kind of stuff. I've shown you probably enough screens. I showed you this, which I believe. I've showed you this, which I believe. I've showed you this, that I believe. And this is true too. Everything that Democrats and leftists do kills people. Just add Islam, shake and stir to taste. And that is what is happening directly in front of our face right now. Now, I was going to do the carousel of this kind of stuff, and there isn't really a lot that I'm finding very damn funny right now. This I find, however, good. And let me update this. I discovered that all the show links, if you want to find out, well, what did BC say? Where's the article or the video buttressing whatever it is that he said? Well, it's going to be on Rumble now, because YouTube has clearly indicated to me that there's not enough space for it. So if you want to find the show links, not the missing links, or basically the Bobcat links, what you do is go to Rumble, BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon on Rumble, click on the show, and in the show descriptor, you will see all the show links. This will be one of them. The White House is starting now a new page called Misleading Bias Exposed. And that is at whitehouse.gov/media bias. Whitehouse.gov/media bias. That link, if you forget, will be in the show links, and that's mostly why I mentioned it. This was a great speech. And I don't have time to go into Hegseth said, kill everybody. That's a bunch of leftist bullshit. If you know, you know. If you don't worry about it for right now. This is an inspiring speech. This is beautiful. This is powerful. It made me really glad to be an American.
It's an honor for my wife Jennifer and I to be here. An absolute no-brainer to be sharing some portion of Thanksgiving with you.
This is the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, in the D.C. Armory, speaking to his troops.
I know some of you have families here. I know many of you are away from your families on mission. The first word I want to deliver to you from our family, from our Secretary of War office family, many of which are here who serve at the Pentagon with us, is we are nothing but grateful for everything that you do. Every single day, every single night, every single risk that you're willing to take, the vigilance that you maintain on our behalf. Thank you for doing what most Americans could never do, in a way that most Americans can't comport themselves. They don't relate, they don't understand what you do selflessly, what you raise your right hand to defend in another state, at another stage of life, and yet you follow through wherever the mission takes you. And for all of you, some of which are in the DC Guard, but many of which are from surrounding states, that brought you here to our capital.
People don't understand our military because so few people now know military people. And what you don't understand, you just want to eliminate. You're a different breed. Emergency responders in the military are a different breed. And we always will be. We're sheepdogs. And you can't beat the sheepdog out of us.
Because President Trump believes that we should have a safe, secure, and beautiful capital of the United States of America. And by the way, you have done just that. We pay attention at the top of the Department of War to the White House of what you are delivering. And you have delivered historic safety, security, and beauty to this capital.
I will get into that.
And not just for the residents that live here that deserve a better life, that deserve to live safe, but also for all the Americans who visit this great capital. Visitors who come and want to see the monuments and want to see the beauty and want to see the history, and then they see danger or theft or violence. You've delivered safety, and you've done it selflessly, and you've done it courageously. Now, obviously, our hearts are heavy right now for the loss of Specialist Sarah Beckstrom. Some of you may have known her, obviously a beautiful human being and a great American willing to serve her country, brutally targeted, ambushed on the street. No words for the sadness we have for her family, and we pray for them. And we're also pray for the Staff Sergeant Andrew Wolf of the Air National Guard, an airman fighting for his life right now. My wife and I had a chance briefly last night to be there, lay hands on him, and pray over him. And I promised his mother one thing, that we would keep praying for him. And so if you would, bow your head and join me in prayer for him. Dear Heavenly Father, we don't understand your ways all the time. Sometimes we are confused by violence we see or things that happen to great people, one of which is Sarah, who we commend you into your arms in heaven right now. And we ask that you be with her family. And then we ask that you be with the family of Andrew Wolf, who right now lays in a hospital bed fighting for his life. Lord God, be with those doctors and nurses, and may your healing hand be upon him. Perform miracles, which we know you can do. Help him to recover and demonstrate the resolve that he's shown every day of his duty.
No notes, no teleprompter, extemporaneous, because he means it. And I wanted everybody to see that tonight. Who are the heroes? That guardsman, one of them took down that Muzzy terrorist with a knife after he ambushed the National Guardsman. Number one, I don't give a shit about pronouncing that fucker's name. He's got a barbaric name from a barbaric death cult. May he go to hell. Sadly, he's going to live. We'll prosecute him. With luck, he'll get the death penalty, and we'll dispose of him and not worry or fret about him anymore or any longer. This is what happened about 8 or 9 seconds in DC. The guy that's the assaulter, the Muzzy, is in black from Afghanistan. We'll get to that. There is no mistake. It was an ambush by a terrorist. It was a terrorist act. No mistake. Anybody, anything, any way about that. That's one of the guardsmen down. Right there. These are the people that we honor. That's the woman who died. And these are the people whose sacrifices altogether way too many people in the United States don't understand. Here's somebody called Sarah Adams. And I found this through LinkedIn. Who is this DC terrorist? He was a member of 2 CIA-supported units that operated under the National Directorate of Security, NDS, of the former Afghan Republic. These units belonged to the NDS on paper. Their support and direction came directly from the CIA. He served in Unit 01, a special military intelligence unit responsible for the Central Zone provinces, Kabul, Parwan, Wardak, and Logar. He got agency training in 2007. It took place on the CIA's Eagle Base in the district of Kabul, a few miles from Hamid Karzai International Airport. It was built in an old brick factory and became one of the CIA's most important counterterrorism training centers. When U.S. forces left Afghanistan in 2021, Eagle Camp was among the final sites to be evacuated and demolished. It was later handed over to the Haqqani Network Suicide Bomber Brigade. Thanks, Joe Biden. Thanks, Lloyd Austin. Thanks, Mark Milley. So this Muzzy terrorist was transferred to a team supporting CIA Kandahar base. And after the attack yesterday on our guardsmen, ISIS channels were the first to praise the incident because this guy's half-brother, the son of his father's second wife, had been a recruiter for ISKP. His brother is pictured below on the left, previously worked with Pakistani intelligence, Pakistan, before formally joining ISKP. His brother was killed in a targeted operation in 2022. After the fall of Kabul, this Muzzy terrorist became prime targets for both the Haqqani Network and ISKP. And both groups targeted these units because of their close relationship on U.S. soil, particularly with former CIA officers. Note this. Both of these groups, these units, along with Al-Qaeda, saw value in impersonating these units. A couple thousand fake documents and ID cards were produced so terrorists could claim affiliation with the CIA and other special units. This allowed some individuals to fraudulently move throughout the U.S. and into the U.S. evacuation process. We have confirmed that the Muzzy terrorist ID and employment were legitimate. So in a way, not in a way, in a direct way, we created this monster. And so people were happy. People were jovial when DC guardsmen were killed, including our people.
News, National Guard member just got shot today, and that shit it's a good fucking wake up. So now y'all know your job title is no longer oppressing people. You can get belt to your ass too. It could be you too. So I hope it's harder for you to sleep at night, and I hope you stand on your motherfucking swivel as you refuse to quit serving this motherfucking dictator whose illegal orders to keep you all in DC are unconstitutional anyway. Think about it.
Think about it. Said from some leftist moron who clearly is a racist. And I don't mind. I'm done with hedging. That fucker is a racist. He's a black male racist. Period. End of statement. So like him, people got their wish. You keep saying things and don't be surprised when your wishes are acquired. Huh, Elisa Slotkin.
Look at these videos coming out of places like Chicago. It makes me incredibly nervous that we're about to see people in law enforcement, people in uniform military get nervous, get stressed, shoot at American civilians. It is very
her prediction is that civilians are going to get shot at by the National Guardsmen. Do you feel good about that today, Alyssa Slotkin? I bet you do. She's from the intelligence. She's from the CIA aspect. You know, all the people who lied when they signed the 51 intelligence people who signed the document saying that the Hunter Biden laptop was bogus. It was crap. There was nothing to it. You know who also got what they wanted? Leftist pieces of shit like Hakeem Jeffries, for example.
Every single ICE agent who's engaged in this aggressive overreach and are trying to hide their identities from the American people will be unsuccessful in doing that. This is America. This is not the Soviet Union. We're not behind the Iron Curtain. This is not the 1930s. And every single one of them, no matter what it takes, no matter how long it takes, will of course be identified. That, in fact, is the law.
No, that's not the law. You're a liar. Oh, did I mention that you're a black racist? Well, yes. Let us continue, but not with him. We're going to continue on with the show. But basically, you know, when you have people like him saying that people like us are nothing but Nazis and fascists and Hitler, it's no surprise that people get killed. Now, how many people are getting killed because of conservatives? I don't know. Who also enabled a lot of this crap? Because I'll tell you a brief story about vetting the Afghans. I watched this probably 2 or 3 times from FBI agents on various TV shows. Well, let's put this up right now. Hey, look, who is this?
We're going to get this done. This is the right thing to do. There's no other ending that is acceptable to me. The people who were there with us in the fight that are here in America need to stay. This will be their new home. So we have a moral obligation to these people. They will make great citizens over. We're going to get.
They will make great citizens. They made great citizens, didn't they? Lindsey Graham, warmonger. But, you know, we hate the National Guard. We hate what they've done in DC. We hate what they've done in Chicago. And yet we get things like this. Kash Patel, FBI to release 2025 data, probably next year, because you can't have end-of-year stats until the end of year, indicating a trend towards the lowest murder rate in modern history. Why possibly? How possibly could that be? Could it be because of the direct focus of the Trump government on crime spots all around the United States? Well, gosh, yes, BZ, that's probably it. Even back in, what was this, 2021. Here's a guy named Sean Parnell talking to Tucker Carlson saying that, you know, we went out of our way. Here's what happened. Here we are today with a non-vetted murdering Muslim Afghanistan terrorist intentionally imported following the horrific killing of 13 American soldiers at Abbey Gate as we fled Afghanistan, as per the Biden Otto Penn regime, Lloyd Austin and Mark Milley, on their strategies and tactics, and left, by the way, billions and billions of dollars of war and war materiel behind to be used by our lovely Muslim enemies. So this happened, of course, as you recall, as we pulled out of the civilian airport in Kabul, Hamid Karzai Airport, or whatever the hell that dude was named. However, first, if you recall, we gave up our secured military air base at Bagram, and we evacuated our soldiers first out of the least secure facility, then our civilians, a disastrous decision by Biden, Milley, and Austin, in a strategy that left our remaining soldiers diminished numbers, unsecure, weak, and vulnerable, hence our 13 that were killed at the Abbey Gate suicide bomber back in 21. And remember also at the time, there were lots of people, Americans, actual Americans, that were trapped inside Afghanistan.
We worked with an Afghan interpreter for over a year. He was on every mission with us. He was on every fight with us. And one day we got tasked with an observation post to watch info routes from Pakistan into Afghanistan. My platoon that day rolled up onto the hill. We wondered why the Afghan villagers all around that hilltop were watching the platoon. Rolled up onto the hill. One of my trucks hit a plastic Italian TC-6 anti-tank mine. It wounded 4 of my soldiers seriously and killed somebody in my platoon. After that mission was over, during our after-action report, we found out that our interpreter, who had been with us every step of the way, someone who we thought was our friend.
And you need to honor them. That's what Lindsey Graham just said. You must honor these people by importing them intentionally within the United States of America.
We learned that he was working with an Iranian IED cell in Pakistan and coordinated the placement of that mine, which killed one of my troops in a devastating attack. Tucker, just because just because an Afghan works with us and is friends with us does not actually mean they're safe to bring here. And this is precisely why we cannot bring 30,000 unvetted Afghan refugees to the United States of America. It's an irresponsible policy. And quite frankly, I can't believe we even have to have this conversation. American citizens have to have the priority. They have to be the priority.
Now, let me tell you what actually happened. There was an FBI agent who I listened to. Oops, I had to put myself back on the stage. FBI agents who essentially said, you know what? We tried to vet a small percentile of these people, but we couldn't do it because we knew already inherently, what Afghani database do you go to and draw upon for information about Afghani, say, Terps, or people who want refugee status? I know, let's just go into the refugee database that the Afghans have created, which is non-existent, and you can't tell who's a good guy from the bad guy, because in Islam, in the Middle East, it's me against my brother. It's me and my brother against my cousin. It's me and my brother and my cousin against the tribe. It's me and my brother and my cousin and the tribe against the outsider, because that's how that shit rolls. There is no vetting them because there is no superior device or database with which to do that. Where Where do these idiots and morons come from who say, oh, well, they're all vetted? Oh, did I mention an idiot? Yeah, here's one.
Was Afghanistan a successful withdrawal?
Senator?
Oh, the delicious irony, Mayorkas being spoken to by Lindsey Graham.
The evacuation that the Department of Defense and the Department of State led was historic in evacuating so many individuals.
Of those that are evacuated, how many of them were vetted before they got on the plane?
Answer the question.
Senator, it is our policy to vet.
That's a simple question. How many of them were vetted before they got on the plane?
Out of Afghanistan?
Yeah.
Cannot speak to that, but it is our policy.
So you can't tell us how many people were vetted before they got on the plane to come to America.
Oh, I'm sorry. If you're speaking of the plane to come to America, let me, if I may, Senator, explain the process. Because we, working with our allies.
Okay, here's a question. Very simple. Those that got on the plane.
For America, it is our policy to.
Please listen to my question.
I apologize.
To those who got on the C-17s and other planes, how many of them were vetted before they got on the plane by American officials?
To the United States, it is our policy to vet and screen 100% of them.
So 100% of those people that got on the plane were vetted. That's your testimony under oath.
It is our policy to do so.
That's not, I don't care what your policy is. I'm asking how many people were vetted before they got on the plane.
He already lied to you. He already said, oh, all of them. Now, what part of, oh, all of them don't you understand? Residents of the United States of America, this was all intentional to shit upon you in your own neighborhoods, in your own country. This was intentional. You're weak, you're stupid, or it's all intentional. It can't be any other.
Do you know the answer?
Senator?
If you don't know, just say I don't know.
Senator, I do not know if anyone boarded a plane that was not fully screened and vetted.
Can you tell me that all the people that got on the plane were vetted?
Absolutely. I can tell you that all of the individuals.
Before they got on the plane?
If I may, Senator, all of the individuals who arrived in the United States have been screened.
That's not, listen, I'm not trying to trick you.
Okay, stop. Quite frankly, I can only take so much of the lying. Mayorkas should be prosecuted. He's a liar. Let's continue with more liars. Again, you know, you're probably really bored by now. I get it. I grok that concept, but you have to understand how this all occurred. The devil and the muzzy both are in the details here.
Deemed a security risk of some kind. What reassurances can you make about the screening process and the attempts to make sure that somebody like that doesn't make his or her way here?
I can absolutely assure you that no one is coming into the United States of America who has not been through a thorough screening and background check process.
Lie. By what? With whom? With what instrument? And how? Where? Back in the Middle East? By the magic Afghani database? Here, because we have a database of all the Afghani terrorists that are living in Afghanistan themselves. Bullshit, bullshit. And for those of you who just tuned in, bullshit.
You're referring to what we termed Operation Allies Welcome, a program that we are very proud of, that we instituted to provide refuge for individuals, many of whom.
Will you be reviewing those they came in on parole? Will you be reviewing them on a case-by-case basis?
We reviewed them on a case-by-case basis, and when those parole periods are subject to renewal, we will do so. It certainly is. Operation Allies Welcome, which we led in a coordinated effort across the government, is a great source of pride for us to bring to safety in the United States.
So they were bragging about the fact that they intentionally imported thousands, likely tens of thousands of Afghanis, and we're surprised that amongst them was a terrorist Afghani. Folks, they did this to us. The Biden auto pen regime did this to us. Mayorkas, everyone on the Biden cabinet did this to us. What other conclusion can you draw other than they want us dead, or they're so brain-glazingly stupid that they are beyond dangerous? Here's Matt Walsh stating the obvious. I completely concur with this.
This is why we say import the third world, become the third world. Because the thing that nobody wants to say is that the reason why third world countries are the way they are is because third world people are the way they are. Okay, at the end of the day, your country is a reflection of its people. Every country is, when it comes down to it. Somali is totally dysfunctional and corrupt because scam and frauds, piracy, this is part of the lifestyle, part of the culture. Bring it over here, you get the same stuff.
No shock. What I would refer to as Trump's shithole. And you know what a shithole is. Many of you, sadly, may live in them in some lurk leftist urban rat cage. And as I said, you import the turd world, you get the turd world, and you become the turd world. And it is clearly, I don't know, how many more dead National Guardsmen do you need to see before you understand? They're not here to love you. They're here to steal from you. By the way, would it be surprising to note that I have more examples, including theft by all these people who bring such wonderful, buttery diversity to us? Give them to us. The needy, the tired, all the people here, the muzzies. You want to see, you want to hear what they think of us? I don't belong here. That's why I destroy and I take so much. I collect your tax money, all the benefits you can. I use them to the max. You can't do anything about it. That's a brag.
Hör inte hemma här. Har jag sagt till dig att jag hör hemma här? Det är därför jag förstör och stör så mycket jag kan. Och utnyttjar era skattepengar. På alla förmåner som man kan ha här som svensk medborgare. Jag utnyttjar det till max. Till max utnyttjar jag det. Och ni kan inte ens göra någonting åt det. Hör inte hemma här.
Happy. Now, PC, you're saying, I bet you that's not the end of it. I bet you have more. Let's go back to Dearborn, shall we? Let's go back to Minnesota. Let's go back to a Somali police officer saying that, you know who he works for? He doesn't work for Americans. He works for Somalians.
markaan haddaan askarnahay Soomaaliyeed ininka ayni shaqeynaa habeenii maalinba ininka ayni taagannahay fahanteen horta sida ogtihiin ba wadankan anaga qaxootiyan nimaadnay askar Soomaaliya ma jirin marka hadda anaga markii nala haygareeyay waxay noqotay inaan dadkeena u shaqeyno dadkii dhaqankii ma fahmaynaa luqadii ma fahmaynaa culture-kii ma fahmaynaa marka qofka kale mataqaana ajnabiga abadaanka iyo anaga waa kala duwanahay because qofkii gaabkii waxa we build that bridge kaas ma fahantay marka insha Allah waa mahadsantiin again ogaada askari kasta oo Soomaaliya dalka iyo dawladaba ininku inii shaqeeyaa habeenkii marka hurudaan iyo marka mataqaana achievetaanba ininka inii taagannahay oo markaan haddaan askarnahay Soomaaliyeed.
Does this not disgust you? Does it not disgust you to see the word sheriff on his vest? Because that word sheriff won't be there for long. It'll be translated to Farsi and it will be a Farsi patch on his shirt, which already occurred in Dearborn because there was such a hubbub about that. There was a prototype created, and because of the stir, they decided at this point, they don't have the superiority in terms of numbers to push that through. But when they do, it will be done. And there will be Farsi patches and Farsi statements on Somali police officer uniforms, which soon will then be translated and pushed to Sharia law. Do you not see how this is happening in front of our face? You know, like Philadelphia. Masked pro-Palestine Islamists light dozens of American flags on fire. That was yesterday. That's Philadelphia. Don't you feel better? Don't you feel that diversity working for you, not against you? I certainly do. So here is another in terms of reference to the National Guard. Here's a leftist white female stupid chick, Bint, who said, "This is so tragic, so unnecessary." I'm reading it to you because the print is really small. And besides, if you're listening on Spreaker, I'll just read it to you. This is from Jane Meyer. She writes for the New Yorker. "This is so tragic. The National Guard DC shooting. So unnecessary. These poor guardsmen should never have been deployed. I live in DC and watched as they had virtually nothing to do but pick up trash. It was for political show, and at what cost?" Now, if you think that I would have some videos supporting the opposite, why, you would be true. And what did we just see in terms of Kash Patel? We saw something like, oh, look, crime is down. The lowest murder rate in modern history. How did that come to pass? How do you think that came to pass? Gee, it wouldn't have been as because of the various National Guardsmen that were there reducing that crime, would it? Gosh, no, of course not. And then it transfers over to other cities as well. We'll get to Mark Kelly and what he said and others about disobeying military orders. Here are some people running for Congress saying essentially that they would defy lawful orders from their chain of command to restore order in an American city. They're both running as, wait for it, Democrats, Demi Palachek and Dylan Blaha. Underminers all. So what happened is that Muzzy tribal faction friction brought all that crap to America. And how lucky are we to be the supporters of this shit in the third world? Why wouldn't everyone want to become the
Let's
third
take
world?
Ilan Omar as an example, okay? She comes from a family, and they call her a refugee who came from Somalia, right? They call her a refugee. Her family were the governing party, the Marxist Islamist government in Somalia, who were overthrown and then fled. Now, technically, that makes her a refugee, but she wasn't fleeing oppression, or rather, her family weren't fleeing oppression. They were fleeing justice. They were...
Stop. You see the difference, do you not? And this is why I put these shows together for you so that you can see them. Whether people see them now or later is somewhat immaterial to me. I would much rather have lots of people watch them. And it becomes tedious, doesn't it? All this grating against the United States of America becomes tedious, and I just can't listen to it. All this bad stuff, these bad news. I don't, I'm not hearing it.
Own people holding them to account for the dictatorship that they had established. So you have people like the Omar family, and what do? Do they come to America and see America and go, okay, this is pretty cool. They're not oppressing each other. Let's be part of this. No, they go, hey, how can we oppress them? You know, how can we bring Marxism to America? That's the thought process. And it may be a passive thought process, but it's the thought process.
Because it's all about tribalism, as I described. Me against everyone else. That's what we have distinctly imported into the United States of America. But wait, there's more.
لكن لما الإسلام جه بقى نظمه بإيه؟
For those who are listening to this and not watching it, this is more indicators of the peaceful and tolerant goat-fucking barbarians of the death cult called Islam, where women are for breeding and bakabatsi boys are for pleasure, front or back, mostly back. So I will read this to you. Muslim Brotherhood TV host explains under what circumstances Christian girls can be raped. Allah allows Muslim men to rape non-Muslims to humiliate them. I'll read it.
لكن لما الإسلام جه
When
بقى
Islam emerged to put slavery into order
نظمه بإيه؟
by limiting it
إن
to
لا
legitimate
يكون
wars between
إلا عن
Muslims and their
طريق
enemies.
الحرب المشروعة بين المسلمين وبين أعدائهم. يعني لو إحنا حاربنا
If we fought Israel,
إسرائيل
which is plundering land,
وإسرائيل دي مغتصبة للأرض بل
and is an
ومعتدية
aggressor
على
against people and
البشر
their faith,
وعلى العقيدة. وطبعا إحنا بنتكلم
obviously it is impossible
المستحيل
that we will fight
يعني
Israel,
مستحيل إن إحنا هيجي اليوم اللي نحارب فيه إسرائيل ولو إن سورة
even
الإسراء
though Surat
مبشرة
al-Isra
بكده
in the
يعني
Quran
وليس
foretells this,
مستحيلا على الله
and nothing
سبحانه
is
وتعالى.
beyond the power of Allah.
فأصل
The
الحرب
female prisoners of wars are
من
those whom
النساء
you own
هم ملك اليمين بمعنى
in order
إن
to
عشان
humiliate them.
أذلهم بيصبحوا
They become the property of the army
ملكا
commander or
لي
of a Muslim.
القائد أو للجيش أو للمسلم يستمتع
And he can have
بيهم
sex with
كما
them, just like he
يستمتع
has sex with his
بزوجاته.
wives.
بعض بقى المتنطعين
Some opportunists and
والمتشددين
extremists
واللي
who only harm
بيسيئوا
Islam
للإسلام
say,
يقول لك أنا أجيب
I will
واحدة
bring a woman from
من
East
شرق
Asia
آسيا تكون ملك يمين
as a slave girl under the status of those whom
وبموافق
you
زوجتي
own, and with the consent of my wife, I will allocate this woman as and have sex with her as a slave girl. This is nonsense. This is not prescribed by Islam at all.
الإسلام إطلاقا لأن الإسلام بيقول
Islam says that a
إما
woman is
للزوجة
either a
وإما
wife
ملك اليمين.
or a
فإحنا
slave
هنا ملك
girl.
اليمين بأن
Legitimately
المشروع
owned slaves
هو
come from
نتيجة
among
الصراع
prisoners from a
الحرب
war
ضد
which is waged against Islam. All you Western women, chattel, you'll be owned, raped, killed, or cast aside. By the way, oh, wait, BC, do you have more? Let's see more. So this is downtown Kabul.
1, 2, 3, 4.
You would expect it, right? No. This is after the DC National Guard shooting by Muslim Afghan national. These are Muslims in Dearborn calling for revolution against America. Now, if we don't put Islam on the deportation list and make it as high as possible, then the only people to blame are us. Remember quite distinctly what I said at the beginning of the show. It's not just coming, folks. It's here.
Do you want to be part of the success team helping to put together one of the largest Islamic events happening this year in
One of the largest Muzzy events is coming to Tampa Bay, Florida. Oh, all of you living in Florida, what luck.
If you want to have the chance to win exclusive prizes like gift cards and AirPod Pro Maxes, you want to be written amongst those that gives their time and their service in the path of Allah. And those who gain a continuous reward for your consistent efforts will look no further because the opportunity has found you. The Sunnah Initiative, in collaboration with Authentic Ilm Mission and the Deen Center in Valrico, is working to put on one of the largest Islamic events to happen in Tampa Bay throughout the entire year.
Get it? See it? Understand it? By the way, this is not just an enticement for people who are already Muslims. Did you see you get rewards? White people, stupid people. We're trying to entice you with goodies for you. You could get earbuds. You could get earphones. You could get stupid shit that doesn't mean anything as long as you come over to our side. Allah. Inshallah. Also, speaking of Minnesota, you may not have heard. Do you remember that it's a scam? It's a scam. It's always a scam. It's the biggest scam. It's a scam worth potentially billions of dollars with a B. Minnesota is drowning in fraud. The largest funder of Al-Shabaab is the Minnesota taxpayer. The state's welfare funds ended up in the hands of a terror group. Billions in taxpayer dollars have already been stolen during the administration of Governor Tim Walz alone. Just him. I love my commies and I love my muzzies, says Tim Walz. He of the jazz hands. Democrat state officials overseeing one of the most generous welfare regimes in the country are asleep at the switch. They're all white, guaranteed. Maybe a couple of blacks in there, but they're all stupid and guilty. Duty-bound by progressive pieties, and they refuse to connect the dots. Continuing to be stupid can be very costly in terms of your sanity and also in terms of your life, as we're already seeing. Let me put this up because this further describes what's going on. Alberto Fernandez, in that investigation, says, our investigation shows what happens when a tribal mindset meets a bleeding heart bureaucracy, when imported clan loyalties collide with a political class too timid to offend, and when accusations of racism are cynically deployed to shield criminal behavior. Yeah, we're talking about the Muzzy Somalis raping Minnesota taxpayers, too stupid, too lazy, and too cowardly to stand up for themselves. Islam has zero interest in assimilation and every interest in being rapacious to its host country and then taking it over. I don't think that I can necessarily state that ever more simply than that. And of course, in other countries, there's this, the loving Islam. Violent attacks against Christians spike in Europe, France leading the way with anti-Christian hate crimes. Who would that be? Who got imported into France, into Europe recently? I know it must be white people. Because you know white people are all racists. Damn racists. Also, remember the people that said, oh, the six, the Democrat six, Elisa Slotkin and Mark Kelly, who said, just obey the rules. Well, they can't tell you what rules that you're not supposed to obey when you get orders from the military, especially the Trump military. Make sure that you disobey them. Because I'm going to tell you how things really occur in the military. Everything that people don't want you to know about the UCMJ, I went into a background and started researching and looking at. And oh, it's just Mark Kelly's First Amendment rights being stomped by that orange delicacy called OMB. So there are now billboards encouraging military members to dissent against leadership. They're all around Fort Bragg, North Carolina, saying to service members and directing them to a website that tells them, oh, contact us about your illegal military Trump orders via encrypted chat.
I'm Senator Alyssa Slotkin.
Senator Mark Kelly. Representative Chris DeLuzio.
Congresswoman Maggie Goodlander.
Representative Chrissy Houlihan.
Congressman Jason Crow. I was a captain in the United States Navy.
Former CIA officer.
Former Navy.
Former paratrooper and Army Ranger.
Former intelligence officer.
Former Air Force.
Shut up. You saw the billboard, you have questions, you're not alone. But first, here are the proactive steps you can take. Did you go airborne just to pull security for ICE? There's the website right there. Hey, but that's not undermining, is it? PZ? Undermining? But instead, you have to realize that Alyssa Slotkin, she's the victim. You actively encouraged and are continuing to encourage military personnel to defy the chain of command. Not because any of the orders are unlawful, and as a matter of fact, you can't name any of them, But just because you're pissed off because his National Guard deployments to various lurks, leftist, urgent, or urban rat cages are having success. See my previous article. Imagine that. And yet it's horrible, I tell you. Here.
I'm Senator Alyssa Slotkin, Senator from Michigan, former CIA officer. Earlier today, President Trump threatened myself and a number of other service and veteran lawmakers with arrest, trial, and death because he didn't agree with a video we put out this week.
Stop. Look at the UCMJ code and look at the penalty for treason under the UCMJ. I'll let you do that on your own time. But in the meantime, here's something perhaps a little bit more pointed. This might be the law that Trump is looking for, 18 U.S.C. 2387, activities affecting armed forces in general. This statute makes it a federal crime to do any of the following with the intent to interfere with U.S. military operations: advise, urge, or attempt to cause insubordination, disloyalty, mutiny, or refusal of duty among members of the U.S. military, obstructing or attempting to obstruct recruiting, enlistment, or general military operations, or distributing written materials advocating any of the above. This law does not require advocating the overthrow of the government in and of itself, period. Hey, there's a suggestion for you. But also, let me give you a taste of what it was that I discovered. I found a gentleman, a former military person, by the name of Joseph Fosco. And I'm going to pretty much read it in its entirety because it goes into detail and tells you things about the situation with regard to Mark Kelly that no one else will tell you, because it's not just so simple. When you go into the military, you are obligated, and you are obligated essentially for your life unless you receive a dishonorable discharge. And that also, too, is going to follow you around in your life. On November 18, 2025, United States Senator Mark Kelly, a retired Navy captain and former astronaut, appeared in a widely disseminated video along with 5 other Democratic lawmakers. The stated purpose was to remind service members of their oath to the Constitution and their duty to refuse unlawful orders. What Senator Kelly actually delivered, however, was a direct, premeditated appeal to active duty personnel to contemplate selective obedience to the commander-in-chief before any order had ever been issued. The devil is in the UCMJ details, which you will soon understand. The Pentagon's subsequent announcement of an investigation with the explicit possibility of recall to active duty and court-martial is not political theater. It is the lawful and necessary response to a retired regular officer's violation of Articles 88, 94, and 133 of the UCMJ. Look it up. First, the jurisdictional foundation is unambiguous. 10 U.S.C. 802 A4 and 6 subjects members of the regular Navy who were retired in grade and entitled to retirement pay to the UCMJ in the same manner as active duty officers. Captain Mark Kelly meets this criteria. The Supreme Court has never disturbed this statutory reach, and the Department of Defense has exercised it repeatedly against retired regular officers for post-retirement misconduct ranging from financial fraud to public contempt towards the president. Retirement, you have to understand, for a regular officer is not a separation. It is a change of status, not a release from discipline. Second, the content of Senator Kelly's statement crosses every red line in the military justice system that has been drawn since 1806. Article 88 criminalizes any commissioned officer's use of contemptuous words against the president, whether named or clearly referenced. Article 94 punishes mutiny or sedition, defined as any attempt with intent to usurp or override lawful military authority to create resistance to lawful authority. Do you see this already? Do you see how this fits? Do you see how this dovetails? Mark Kelly knows absolutely this. He knows all of that. He's a military officer. He realizes and recognizes that, but he's still lying to you. Most damning is Article 133, which captures conduct unbecoming an officer and a gentleman. That clause is deliberately broad enough to encompass any act that seriously compromises the officer's standing or the discipline of the armed forces. Senator Kelly, however, did not confine himself to the anodyne observation that unlawful orders must be disobeyed. That proposition is taught in every boot camp and affirmed by the Department of Defense Law of War Manual. Oh no, he went much further. He instructed currently serving members to prepare themselves to refuse orders from the incoming administration, the current administration, in advance of any order being given, on the implied premise that the incoming commander-in-chief, the current commander-in-chief, is predisposed to do so illegally, with illegality. That is not education. It is a preemptive effort to erode the presumption of lawfulness that attaches to every superior's directive until proven otherwise in a court of law under the UCMJ. In the military context, where instantaneous obedience is the bedrock of operational effectiveness, BZ says, parenthesis, duh, end of parenthesis, such anticipatory defiance is indistinguishable from sedition. The senator's defenders will inevitably invoke, as I said, the First Amendment and the speech or debate clause. Both arguments collapse under scrutiny. The speech or debate clause protects only legislative acts on the floor or in committee. A social media video released to the general public is not a proceeding in Congress. Fundamentally, more so, no civilian free speech right overrides the UCMJ when Congress has expressly subjected a category of citizens, retired regular officers, to military jurisdiction. You see how this is going? Mark Kelly knows all this. He knows all of this, and still he is the victim. But this is not what the American media maggots are telling you, with intent. Number one, because they probably don't know, and number two, even if they knew, they wouldn't tell you the truth anyway. More fundamentally, no civilian free speech right overrides the UCMJ when Congress has expressly subjected a category of citizens, retired regular officers, to military jurisdiction. The Supreme Court reaffirmed in 1974 that the military is, by necessity, a specialized society separate from civilian society, and that speech restrictions valid in that society would be intolerable in civilian life. Nor can Senator Kelly shelter behind the fact that he's a United States senator. The Constitution does not create a privileged class of retired officers who may violate the UCMJ with impunity simply because they later win some kind of elective office. If anything, the combination of his retained rank and his public platform magnifies the damage, i.e., BZ says, he's drawing a pretty substantial retirement check, end of parenthesis. History offers no comfort to the senator. In 1952, the Army court-martialed retired Major General Robert Grove for diary entries critical of U.S. policy that fell into Soviet hands. In 1961, by the way, who benefits from all of this? Yes, our enemies, foreign and domestic, benefit with this. In 1961, retired Army Major General Edwin Walker faced investigation, ultimately relieved of command for public political activities deemed incompatible with his status. The principle is consistent. Retirement does not license a regular officer to use his rank as a continuing platform to undermine lawful authority. And here's the remedy. The remedy is straightforward. The Secretary of the Navy, which has ultimate control over Mark Kelly as a naval officer, exercising authority delegated under 10 U.S.C. 6088 and Department of Defense Instruction 1352.1, may recall Captain Kelly, retired, to active duty for the purpose of trial by general court-martial. If you've heard he may be subject to a court-martial, now you know how and why. It is the UCMJ. Charges under Article 88, 94, and 133 are fully supported by the public record. Conviction on any specification could carry penalties up to dismissal, the retired equivalent of a dishonorable discharge, forfeiture of all pay and allowances, and permanent loss of retired benefits accrued after 30 years of otherwise honorable service. And as this individual says, this isn't retribution. This is accountability. This is the same thing that is going on with Trump. This isn't retribution. This is justice and accountability. A nation that permits retired regular officers to exploit the retained rank in order to sow anticipatory disobedience inside the active force has already surrendered the privilege and the principal civilian control of the military. The Uniform Code of Military Justice exists precisely to prevent that surrender. Captain Kelly took an oath in 1987 that did not expire when he accepted retired pay. He is paid now, and it did not dissolve when he took a seat in the United States Senate until the law is changed by Congress. That oath and the jurisdiction it carries remains in force. The Department of Defense has no honorable choice but to recall him, charge him, and try him. Anything less would constitute a tacit announcement that the Uniform Code of Military Justice, UCMJ, no longer binds those who have worn the cloth of the Republic at its highest levels. The integrity of the armed forces demands no less. And now you know the truth behind Mark Kelly. And here is an American media maggot asking a question that Alyssa Slotkin just wasn't prepared for. I want softballs. As in, what orders did Trump demand? Where were the illegal orders? You know what? Just name one.
So let's talk right now. Do you believe President Trump has issued any illegal orders?
To my knowledge, I am not aware of things that are illegal, but certainly there are some legal gymnastics.
Well, you said there were. You claimed there were, all six of you, in your minute-and-a-half video, whose point was to undermine the entire military in the United States of America. Imagine that. Now, you found that very easy. So tell us. Well, you can't. Because you of all people should be able to know, hey, what is an illegal order? Delineate it, state it, can't.
That are going on with these Caribbean strikes and everything related to Venezuela.
But let's talk.
Okay, those are suggestions. Are those illegal orders? Do you know for a fact? No, they don't know for a fact. Those are illegal orders. They have no damn idea. This is also what I want you to see. Who is Mark Kelly? As I wrote in my post, you know what? It all falls into place now. Taking communist Chinese money on one hand, betraying America on the other, and having to support the Chinese communist masters, Mark Kelly, who paid you off. Your military piety and your faux umbrage over Trump, you are nothing more than disgusting filth. Where did I get that? Did I make that up? Do you think BZ made that up? That I just decided, you know what, I'm going to create a Fox article. Former astronaut Senator Mark Kelly started spy balloon company funded by China. Kelly, 60, is a former astronaut, U.S. Navy captain who has represented Arizona in the U.S. Senate since 2020. He is on the fucking take. Before becoming a senator, was not only an astronaut, but he also co-founded a company that specializes in spy balloons, which was funded in part by a venture capitalist in China with close ties to the Chinese Communist Party. Do you see the linkage? And this wasn't, oh, this is before he was an officer and a gentleman. No. He knew exactly what he was doing. And he knew precisely with whom he was in bed. While Kelly's company started out as a focus on space tourism via balloons, the vision evolved with the maturing of the company's technology. That's short for saying, I saw some money, I was an officer and a gentleman, but I decided to piss it all away because I wanted to be beholden to communist China. BZ, you make up all this terrible specious crap. No, I don't. I don't need to make it up. It makes up itself. And I'm sure by now everybody is saying, oh, this show is too long. It's too long. It's too detailed. It hurts my brain. My brain has a sprain. I have sprain brain. The devil is in the details, is it not? And we are being undermined by our government and betrayed by traitors left and right. Your hard-earned American taxpayer dollars are being pissed away for stupid shit. Democrats are the same as muzzies. They are dangerously insane. Dangerously insane. And it's like I said, everything that Democrats and leftists do kill people. Everything they do. There isn't anything that they touch that they don't destroy. Now, throw in Islam. Because that's true, and import the third world, and we're becoming that, as I indicated from the very beginning. Here's what you get. Diversity. Here's what you get. Diversity. It's so wonderful for us. Is it not? Of course it is. You people, if you don't love diversity, you're all bigots and racists and any kind of ist or obe that you can possibly think of. And then, of course, there's local violence. Hey, because, in Chicago, why shouldn't there be a 14-year-old killed and 8 others shot and hurt in Chicago shootings after a Christmas tree lighting? Because nothing in Chicago says, well, Chicago, like shootings at Christmas tree ceremonies. But wait, there's more. What people are worried about, what Democrats are worried about, is that President Trump is going to surge into Chicago after the riots and the shootings broke out, and the residents themselves, they're not having it. They're not happy with it. They're not real pleased.
It's very disheartening to see this. Right. Holiday time, everybody wants to celebrate and enjoy the evening, and something like this happens.
Suzanne, this morning, still a lot of details coming to light on
after the Christmas tree shooting. But wait, no, BZ, don't you understand? All the Chicago and leftist urban rat cage residents are all for Trump getting his ass kicked out. There should be no National Guard there. Chicago spends wisely. Chicago is a firmly based Democrat bastion, shall we say? Well, what do we know about Chicago? Yeah, they're forthright. Taxpayers paid $23.6 million for Chicago public school vacations. Chicago teachers went on little vacays at Chicago and Illinois taxpayer expense, $23.6 million. Hey, it's okay. It's for us. Really? We know best how to spend your money, do we not? Are we not? Are you not entertained? And then this, at another tree lighting ceremony, In Concord, North Carolina. Lord bless us, there must be tree lighting ceremony violence. And there was. Bing! Let the violence occur and let it go forth and multiply. Here's a little bit of a happy story. People were disappointed that some stupid leftist piece of crap judge said that James Comey and Letitia James, I'm going to dismiss your charges. But I didn't dismiss it with prejudice, meaning that you can't refile. It's just a little glitchy, sort of foundational government kind of thing. You didn't cross the T's and dot the I's in a way in which I approve. And Jonathan Turley, who is George Washington University's law professor, said former FBI Director James Comey and Democrat Attorney General Letitia James of New York could still face charges despite a judge saying a federal prosecutor was improperly appointed. Those are issues of process and have absolutely nothing to do with whether or not guilt is there or attached. But wait, see more disgusting, lovely little Democrat ploys here like this. AOC email seeks donations for turkey giveaway, but money goes directly into her coffers. If you want to donate for a turkey giveaway and you were sufficiently stupid to do that into the AOC website, you found that she had cooked up some kind of a new way to have her cake and eat it too by tying her annual turkey giveaway to her massive re-election campaign enterprise. And she said, "Oh, Thanksgiving is only 2 weeks away." It was an email pitch. Will you chip in $5 or anything you can do today to help us bring the joy of the holiday season into New York City this year? But if you click on it, it sends you directly to a campaign fundraising page operated by, wait a minute. Do I have this? Operated by, well, that's what happens when you push the taxpayers down the stairs. It went to Act Blue. What do we know about Act Blue? Funded by George Soros. George Soros actively funds anything and everything that's involved with the Democrats, period. End of statement. Here's another little happy story. Maybe I may have moved into happy stories by mistake at this point. And I'm sure that had you need to winkle, you would already have hit the electric winkle chamber at some point like this. I still have my beverage. And I meant to drink like a fish tonight. Smells like vodka. Smells like victory. But because I had so much to talk about, I haven't been drinking much. Trust me, after the show, I will make up for it wonderfully. DOJ sues Newsom over California giving illegal immigrants college tuition benefits. Californians, Califailians. Aren't you happy to have your taxpayer, your hard-earned American taxpayer dollar, funded into giving immigrants, illegal invaders, college tuition? Because they need it. Certainly they need it more than your stupid kid. God, your kids are stupid. I wish that your kids would stop being stupid. But wait, there's more. You know, if Newsom wanted to really tackle the, what you got now, $18-20 billion deficit in the state of Califalia, you know, there is something that he can do. Let's listen to one of the things. I'm not going to play the whole video because you'll get it. You'll grok the concept at the very beginning. So Governor Newsom one of the things that he can do to try to reclaim some of this money for his deficit is...
Hi, I'm Kim Stevens. Thanks a lot for joining us tonight. California has a budget problem. The
No.
Legislative Analyst Office is predicting a gloomy outlook for next year because
No.
too much money is being spent and not enough is coming in. How much? Well, an $18 billion problem next year and $35 billion deficit the following year. The governor has some answers to right the state's financial ship. They're controversial.
You're going to love this. This is fucking awesome. You guys are going to, well, you guys in California, I just laugh from afar. You guys in California will be laughing all the way to your tax statements.
Painful or a perfect answer. That's for you to decide. Tonight, the group Californians United for a Responsible Budget say the perfect answer is simple. Close California prisons.
Now, haven't I historically said something similar to? Oh, Jack, if your vodka smells, then it's shit vodka. Okay, come on over and make me some, mister. I can just tell. Kettle one, mister. Skål, brother. You can't write this, can you? I know. We'll solve a budget shortfall by closing prisons in California, because what the hell, who needs prisons in California? Also, it just keeps going and going and going and going. This is great. Remarkable women. Fuck remarkable women. Maybe not literally. I'm too old for that. Labor activists push for $30 wage by 2030 in California. That's 4 years away. $30 wage, minimum wage in 2030 by California. Now, California and all the other states are also pushing for a guaranteed income. Everybody, including illegal invaders. And then, of course, especially in Califailure, well, you know, we determined the gas tax isn't working all that well. And all you people that bit and bought EVs, well, we're not getting the gas tax as we once were. So we're going to make sure that you pay, no matter what you're driving, by the mile. Isn't that going to be great? So California, when you get to 2030 and you get your $30 minimum wage, that is to say, if there are any minimum wage makers left in California, because at a $30 minimum wage, let's see, everybody will be, fast food workers will be replaced by kiosks. Minimum wage workers will be replaced by AI. And minimum wage workers will be replaced by robotics. So I don't know, whoever's left after that. So California, what I say essentially is, if you would, please enjoy your new 2030 single patty McDonald's cheeseburger, your new $30 McDonald's cheeseburger, because that is going to be so much fun for you. California loses 1 taxpayer per minute. Florida gains. There are some people that are watching in Florida right now who are saying, no. The people that are in New York City, keep them in New York City. And the people that are in California, keep them out of Florida. But this is a happy story, even though I didn't say it was all under the aegis of happy stories. California loses 1 taxpayer per minute. Florida gains. And how do you think a state like Califailure makes up for that? At this point, you may be, waving your arm like this. Peasy, peasy. I know. Increase taxes. And since we're talking about loons, what the hair as happened to Candace Owens. You know, I'm going to play a little bit of this. Basically, she's saying, amongst other things, and I will show you the amongst other things after this, because it's like, again, when you see things like this, you think, okay, you know, is this real? Brain blown. But Candace Owens is saying that Charlie Kirk's murder was approved by Charlie's friends in advance and is accusing Kash Patel of being involved because Kash Patel didn't like religious guys. And so bring the receipts, Candace.
Analyze and verify the flight patterns. So, I think we know why Kash Patel is out, right? I mean, I read this, checked it, verified it, and I just want to know why, Charlie. I want to know why the decision was made to murder Charlie Kirk, a decision that very clearly had to be approved by Charlie's friends.
You know, if you've noticed, I've paused any number of times tonight. And that's to let not just me, but with luck, you give you time to process the things you've seen and heard in the show. And it made me wonder, okay, well, is she saying anything else that's wacky? Because that's wackadoodle. That's just wackadoodle. Now, for the people, these letters right over here that I'm pointing to, this big sort of run-on 1, 2, 3, 4 sentence or 4 paragraphs from Candace Owen. They're too small to be seen. And if you're listening in podcast on Spreaker, audio only, then I want to make sure that I read them to you so that you understand what the hair? What the hair is she saying and thinking? What the fuck? Candace Owens at Real Candace O on X. Urgent. 2 days ago, I was contacted by a high-ranking employee of the French government. After determining this person's position and proximity to the French couple, I have deemed the information they gave to me to be credible enough to share publicly in the event that something happens. In short, this person claims that the Macron, God, I can never say that word. The Macron, anyway, have executed upon and paid for my assassination. Yes, you read that correctly. More specifically, the green light was given to a small team in National Gendarmerie Intervention Group. I am told there is one Israeli that is on this assassination squad, and the plans were formalized. Again, this person provided concrete proof that they are well placed within the French government apparatus. Further, to this point, this person claims that Charlie Kirk's assassination trained with the French Legion 13th Brigade and multi-state involvement. Journalist Xavier Poussad's life is also at risk. This is deadly serious. The head of state of France apparently wants us both dead and has authorized professional units to carry this out. I ask that every person retweet and share this. I do not know who in the American government can be trusted, since this source claims that our leaders are aware, but I have more specific information which is definitely verifiable should they care to reach out to me. Candace Owens. You know, there was a time when I used to play with fair regularity. Candace Owen speaking before Congress and slamming the crap out of Democrats, saying that, oh, she's a racist, she does racist things, she hates all women, and she tore them apart. That's apparently when she had her brain, which wasn't scrambled. Maybe the same long sticks that went in your eyes, in the corner of your eyes in the 50s to scramble your brain for a lobotomy. Maybe she fell on them and they entered her ears instead of the front. I don't know what happened. Plus, then there's this. The Candace Owens versus McCall lawsuit, a complete collapse in real thread. Now, this is interesting. Not going to read it, wouldn't be prudent, but it will be on my Rumble website when I post the show. And then I post it in podcast for everyone tomorrow to poke fun at and laugh at. Hi, look at BZ's stupid podcast on a Saturday. Nobody's watching. No one cares. That's sad. But anyway, it'll be there. It's like, I say, because it's true, you can't write this stuff. How can you? You can't write this stuff. And so here's another something that you can't write. And I'm not supposed to say this, but I will because it's me. And after I said earlier at the very beginning of the show, my days of being circumspect and magnanimous and charitable are fucking gone. So here's Jasmine Crockett saying that whites are randomly lynching blacks all over the United States of America. What?
Gonna do? They not even going. Honestly, they're about to outlaw the idea of white supremacy and white hate. Like they are about to be like, oh, that's not a thing. Forget the fact that you're talking about getting rid of like the classification for nooses in a time in which we have seen these random black bodies be strung up down south. Also,
random black bodies strung up down south. If I may just for a moment pause it and throw out a suggestion. If there were random black bodies strung up all over the South, don't you think you would have heard about it? I didn't. I keep a pretty good pulse, a pretty good finger right here on the pulse of the American media maggots, because they would not just love, they would love to hear that.
Seemingly at a time in which you're back in office, because what you do is you embolden the hate. You embolden everybody to take off their hoods. That is what he has done.
Now, see, the same thing they accuse you of, they are doing only worse. All the violence, all the yay National Guard deaths, all the yay Charlie Kirk deaths, all the yay people are getting injured, all the yay defund the police, all the yay we're going to riot and we're going to hurt people and kill as many cops as we possibly can. It's from them.
He is the one that is producing this violence. Listen, they gonna do. They not even going.
Okay, boo. Good to hear you. Black female racist. Bint. Mark 1, Model 2. Oh gosh, I haven't done this yet. So let me, if I can find this, and at least let you know where it is that you are and what you've been listening to.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Wow, if God had a voice, maybe that would be God's voice. This is also very bizarre. Bizarre. It's very bizarre. I consider this very bizarre. So Marjorie Taylor Greene has said that, okay, I'll be retiring, what'd you say, January 21st, something like that. Because she wasn't supporting Trump. That's not a shock. And that she's going to show Trump. She's going to run. One of three things is going to happen with her. And it will lead to something else in January, which will occur first. Thought I'd tell you that. But she's also angling for, now that she's out and said, I'm going to resign, I'm going to retire. No, she's not retired from politics. Here's what she's going to do. She's going to decide, put on her little Mark 1, Model 1 thinking cap and say, okay, I'm going to either run for governor of Georgia, or I'm going to run for Senate of Georgia, or I'm going to kick Trump's orange ass and J.D. Vance's ass and show him that I'm going to run for president and win the presidency in 2028. By the way, if the Democrats decide that they want to, following January 1st, shut down the government, the Congress is not going to have enough people because she will be gone. And will they have enough time to hold an election, a special election since then? No, I don't think so. So by doing that, she may in fact jeopardize this stuff is never ending. Never ending. And so if the Democrats decide, screw you, we're going to shut down the government again. Good luck getting the votes to open it up. They may not have the votes to open it up like they did last time. Thanks, MTG. What a great person you are. So wonderful. Also, and then this happened after it was announced that MTG, Marjorie Taylor Greene, was going to be leaving the Republicans. And somebody said, you know what? You know, like Big Evil in End of Watch. Why do they call you Big Evil? Because my evil is big. Well, it looks like Jamie Raskin says he has a tent, and his tent is big also. Go, Jamie.
Let me just say a couple more things to you great Florida Democrats. One of them is we are a big tent. We must be a huge, vast tent. I say this is a party that's got room for Marjorie Taylor Greene if she wants to come over. We got room for anybody who wants to stand up for the Constitution and for the Bill of Rights.
And that was meant with resounding success. Huzzah! Jamie Raskin, we're all behind you, mister. Do you feel our penises? Because that's how we're behind you at this point. That kind of went over like a lumpy piece of poop in the punch bowl. And here comes the man with no shame. Maybe I need to make that a new segment. I haven't done the segments because I was all thrombosticated because of all my kerfuffle-ishness with Facebook. I may not be on Facebook for much longer because they just extorted money out of me. See the beginning of the show. So this might be, like I say, the new segment, the Man of the Week. Here's a man of the week. He's a 38-year-old able-bodied dude, no kids, not going to school, doesn't have a job, and says he's going to be devastated when he loses his food stamps.
That's some bull. Nelson Scott is on the verge of losing access to the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP. He is 38, not disabled, doesn't have any kids, doesn't go to school, and doesn't have a job. Those are just some of the reasons he is no longer eligible for SNAP benefits.
How much did SNAP help you?
It helped me a lot. I get $292 a month.
Okay. Hello, moron. Go get a job. Get off your lazy ass and get a job. How many people fall under that category? Him and a ton of others. It's like you can't write all this. So I hope tonight, if you haven't learned anything at all, because I'm about to wrap up the show, because I still have a lot more of this, and there isn't any ice in here, and I want more, and I want more of it with ice, and I want Diet Sprite in there too. So that's what I'm going to be doing when I hang up the show, right? So I'm hanging up the show. I still have a butt ton of things to talk about up here, but you know what I'm going to do? I think unless something really weird happens, I'm going to wait until Tuesday. And in the meantime, Sean Lewis, I Bigfooted everything I could possibly think of up your nose with a rubber hose. And I talked about all this stuff before you did. That shit's not funny. Sean is saying that right now. Look, you fat fuck. That shit is not funny. And that is, I'm about to place you in excommunicado from SHR. You try that one more time, mister, and you're out. You're out. And in case Sean is watching, he just said, you're out. Meet again. Don't know where. Don't know when. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, thanks for listening to BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show, live and direct, right here from the SHR Media Network in the Nof, Idaho studio, about 10 feet by about 12 feet. Not really big. I'll show you the studio someday. And it'll be available in podcast tomorrow. I will post the show so that people can watch it in podcast a little bit later. By the way, as per normal, promotional consideration is by the Lockheed Martin Skunk Works, also by Shure and Electro Voice microphones, also by the people who make my mixer Arrakis, and also by the Pratt & Whitney Engine Company, producing dependable engines which yield thrust you can trust. Tiaras are by My Little Pony. And also, thanks to my personal KC-135, KC-135 Kettle One refueling team, with whom I shall be concerting very, very soon. Very, very soon. Okay, everybody, Tuesday night I'll be back. One and all. God bless.
Good night, Mama. Night, Ben.
Take care.
Good night, everyone. Good night, Mama. Good night, Daddy.
Be safe. Have a great Sunday.
Good night, Dad. Good night, Elizabeth.
Good night, John Boy. Good night, Jim Bob. Good night, Jim Bob.
Good night, Jim Bob.
What's going on? I was asleep. What's everybody doing?
Good night,
Good night,
Jim
Jim
Bob.
Bob.
Good night, and good luck.